Peace, 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 peace. I am early. I am early. Um, I am early. So, I am going to give everyone a few minutes to get here. Hey, y'all. Hey. Hold on just a minute. I want to clear my screen. Sorry. Sorry. Peace, peace, peace. This is Ashu and Tola, the Enchantress of the Enchanted Life. A little nervous. First time really doing a Facebook Live for my business page. And I do have some notes, so if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. Peace, Nikki. Peace. I am Ashu Tola, the Enchantress of the Enchanted Life. I am an energy worker and an oracle. I assist people in harmonizing their mind, body, and spirit through the specialized work of the Etheric touch. And so this live tonight is to talk more about what the Etheric touch is. A lot of people have questions in reference to it. Peace. Thank you for tuning in. People have questions about what it is, what's the differences between this kind of energy work and traditional Reiki. And so I just wanted to come on tonight and answer some of those questions. So just a little bit about me. I am a mother of 5, stepmother to 3, and I have a grandchild. And I'm also married. I'm a wife. I am a holistic wellness practitioner, intimacy coach, oracle, energy worker, all kinds of different things, right? So I have been living a holistic lifestyle now for 12 years. And when I say a holistic lifestyle, what I mean is that I have been incorporating mind, body, and spirit into my entire way of life instead of separating them as different components or as symptoms like the medicinal system teaches us, our society has taught us. So I have been doing that now for about 12 years. I'm very much nutritionally aware, meaning that I watch my diet. I eat a mostly vegetarian lifestyle, some kind of vegan, but I'm not like completely vegan. Peace, LE. I'm not completely vegan. I'm mostly vegetarian. Sometimes I do eat chicken. I don't have any judgment for anybody's lifestyle or what they eat. I'm also into herbology, stress management, and spiritual awakening, spiritual awareness, spiritual alignment, spiritual consciousness. And so it began, and I always start this story this way because I try to take the romanticism out of it before I begin, because a lot of people find it to be romantic, and it's not about the romance aspect of it necessarily, but about the journey that led me to where I am. So in 2007, I began my journey into cultural awareness, cultural awareness and spirituality. And during this journey on my own, I picked up a lot of information about our culture, specifically here in the United States. And then I met my husband, and he introduced me to a lot of the spiritualized lifestyle that I have incorporated into my life. But what I know now is that regardless of him being with me or not, this was my path. This is where I was going to end up one way or the other. He's just been my partner in this journey. So anyway, it began, I met him in 2009, and one of the first things he said to me was that he felt that we were going to be able to help each other to heal. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Let's see how this goes or whatever. And so at the time, though, he was like, I already know who you are. I know who you are in my life. And I really thought he was running game on me. long story short, we ended up going on our first date probably like a month and a half later after talking. And during this date, it was a completely spiritual experience, one that I was not expecting. I came to this home, and it was completely decked out in Egyptian deities. They were dancing on the wall, was incense and sage burning or whatever. And I go into this place, into this space, and they're teaching meditation. So that was my first experience with meditation. And it was really interesting. It was really cool. I felt right away that I was able to understand the concepts and apply it to my life. And so during this time, we're doing meditations and we take a break. And me and my at the time we were dating, so my first date, go outside, and he rubs his hands together and he placed it on my heart. Now, prior to this, I had just come out of a 10-year marriage, recently separated, not looking for anybody for any reason or anything of that nature, and really completely like over the whole aspect of love. Like, that's for the birds, it's a fairy tale, don't want to hear nothing about it. So we go outside and he asked if he could touch me. I was like, okay. And he rubbed his hands together and he placed it on my heart. And at that time, which I still can visually see and feel to this day, when he placed his hands onto my heart, he healed my heart. And it literally felt like golden light encompassed my heart and mended it together. And so a little while after that, we go back inside and we continue the evening. And I was offered an energy session, an energy work session. And first I watched him go through it. Fakunle. I first watched Fakunle go through it, and he was doing all this moaning and moving and stuff, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what's really happening? And so the guy asked if I wanted a session, and I was like, sure, I'll take a session. And during that session, it felt like something happened with my spirit. So I was more in tune with it. I was more aware of that it existed. Prior to this, I grew up in a Catholic school. I went to Catholic school, so that tradition, and also in a Methodist church. So I really, like, spirituality was kind of like distant to me. But at this point now, I'm aligned with my spirit. I'm very much aware that my spirit is there. And so I'm like, okay, that was interesting. The next day when I went outside, what I remembered the universe, the world being had completely shifted. I was able to see stardust energy. I was able to see waves of energy in the air. I noticed different animals coming to me, literally like coming into my space, into my awareness, hawks and birds and squirrels and all kinds of stuff. And what happened was it changed into like a magical wonderland to me, honestly. Like, for the first year of practicing meditation and getting energy work done, it was like a wonderland. It was like, I want to know how far I can go. I want to know how I can access this energy. I want to know what it was that Ifa Kunle, peace Tanya, thank you for tuning in. I wanted to know what Ifa Kunle had done to me. I wanted to know what the brother who had given me the session had done to me. I wanted to know how to access that power, how I could make it my own, and then how I could share it with others. And so over the course of the last 10 years, I have been a Reiki practitioner. I have been studying energy work as well as other modalities. Some more background information. So in 2007, my husband now, who was my date then, was diagnosed with a disease called aplastic anemia. Peace, Amber. Peace, Carl. My husband was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, and this is the journey we have been on. In the beginning of that journey, he was taking the medications and he was going through their treatment, and it made him feel like shit, and it made him feel like he was dying. So he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And when he told me he wasn't doing that anymore, I decided that in order to make sure that we were going about healing him properly, that I would go and study more about it. And so I ended up obtaining my bachelor's degree of science in alternative medicine back in 2013, just to ensure that the things that we were doing on his journey was going to be most beneficial for him. From 2007 to 2008, he took their medication, and then from 2009 all the way up until right now, at this very moment, he has been completely free of all medications and treatments that they have offered in relation to this aplastic anemia. And this year it just came back. It just started to show itself again. Peace, Robin. Peace, Princess. It just started to show itself again. But once again, we have completely disregarded the medical system's treatments, and we are continuing to use alternative medicine, holistic medicine in his healing. So the etheric touch has helped me to help him to continue to have energy flow to his body, to be able to feel energized, not feel sleepy, not have the side effects that most people have in relation to the disease that he is currently facing. So for me, energy work changed my life. It changed my life in a way that took mundane living into something that was very magical, into something that was very mysterious, mystical, into a realm of existence that is really hard to explain to people, Peace Renee, unless they are already experiencing it as well. So, like I said, I have been practicing energy work and for over 10 years now. And I'm getting to that, Renee. I promise. I'm getting to that. Great question. She said, how does Reiki and I know she's saying etheric touch work together? I'm getting to that. So, one of the things that ended up happening in this journey, I'm giving people sessions, and people are saying this is non-traditional. You know, I am certified in four different Reiki systems: Usui, Tibetan, Kemetic, and Sekhem. I'm initiated into all four of those practitionerships. During the course of time, I'm giving people sessions, I'm getting clients, I'm giving sessions. People are having all these beautiful experiences. Everybody's experiences are completely different than everyone else's. I never tell any of my clients what to expect. They come, they sit on it, they come into the lab, they get what they get, and they have their experiences, and there's theirs. So over the course of the years, I've been hearing people say that this is non-traditional. This is not something, this is unique. This is not something that is traditionally the way people practice. And I did not understand that. Peace, KT. Peace, Brandy. I did not understand that until a sister friend of mine told me about an experience of her going through a Reiki certification program, and feeling after that program, Peace Tasha, feeling after that program that she had learned nothing. And it was really amazing. It was shocking to me. She was like, I don't feel like I know anything. I didn't feel like I took anything away from me. I was really unnerved by the whole experience. And she got to watch some of my sessions, and she was like, no, that's not the way I was taught. The way you do it is so much different than traditional Reiki. And I feel like this is what people are missing. So then I started to research on my own, and I started to Peace Brujas, Peace Danielle. So then I started to research on my own, and what I've learned is that, generally speaking, and I have no problem with any of the Reiki systems, because again, I've been initiated into 4 different systems, so I don't have any problem with all of them. They're all beautiful systems. But what I realized was that it's a very uniformed way of practicing energy work. It's a very in the box way of practicing something that does not have to be in a box at all. We're talking about energy. We're talking about something that's as expansive as energy. Energy is all around us. Energy does not die. It does not get destroyed. It gets transmuted and transformed. And so what I realized is that over the course of the years, the way I practice, the people that I've practiced with, the people I grew up in Reiki with, was doing things so completely out the box of Reiki that it needed to be termed something different. It needed to be termed the etheric touch. And the reason why it is termed the etheric touch is because it takes the rules and the protocols out of energy work. It gives you your freedom back. It allows you to ritualize your sessions. It allows you to ritualize it for yourself and your own self-healing. And it also allows you to ritualize it for your clients so they experience something that is so much more profound than just sitting there and watching people very, very uniformly perform on you. So what I ended up realizing was that the way that I was taught initially by my teacher was very non-traditional to begin with. And every single session by all the people that I've ever practiced on or who has ever practiced on me was very non-traditional. And what I mean by that, it was customized to me or the client based on what the client needed at the time. So for one, the way it's different. So yes, it's definitely, Reiki is nothing to me, in my personal opinion. Peace, Tanisha. Reiki is nothing but energy work. When we say Reiki, we're talking about energy work. And so that's why I choose not to use Reiki and the etheric touch in the same lines, because I don't want it to be in the same realm of that. What I want you to think of when you think of etheric touch is energy work. Because I don't want to touch you physically. I want to touch your spirit. I want you to feel me. I want your spirit to feel me. I don't want to have to touch you. I want your spirit to feel me. And that's the whole point. That was the whole point for me in learning energy work, was that I don't have to touch you for you to feel me. You know what I'm saying? I can just set up the scenery. I can call on my ancestors. I can create a ritual that's peace, Asia, that is completely in alignment to what your spirit needs, and then I set it up and I do the work, and then you get to go away and you get to talk about the experience you had, and your experience is nothing like the experience of the person before you or the person after you, and it's nothing like if you come one time and then you come back and then you leave and then you come back again. That next experience is nothing like the first experience. It's always completely different. It's always completely different. It's always in alignment with what your spirit is saying that you need at the time. I want to emphasize again, this is not Reiki. I don't want it to be. I've never ever claimed for it to be Reiki. It's not taught traditionally in any way, shape, or form. It's allowing you the freedom to be in your own energy. It's allowing you the freedom to learn to trust your own intuition. It teaches you your intuition first. Trust your intuition. That is something that in society we have been taught, specifically women have been taught to ignore. Trust your intuition. It teaches you how to build your intuition. It teaches you how to seek freedom in your work, and then allow that freedom and that intuition to touch others. So the etheric touch has three main components. It has the self-care level, and the self-care level is completely about you. All the work is completely about you. It's about helping you. Peace Tide is about helping you to tune into yourself and be empowered within yourself to trust your intuition enough to be able to start to work on others. The thing is that a lot of times what I have seen is that people feel drained by working with others. And the reason they feel drained by working with others is because they're not filling themselves up first and operating from that overflow. And that's the most important part of the etheric touch, is that you have to create this overflow. You want to fill yourself up so much that you're overflowing with energy, so that when you share it with others, you're not taking anything from yourself, but you know that you can just continuously pull from the universe, because the universe is abundant in energy, you know? And so that's the first thing. So the first level is self-care. And that's what I teach my students, is how to tap into their intuition, how to feed their self universal life force energy that's continuously flowing through them. and so that they can build themselves and be empowered enough within themselves to trust their own intuition and be able to move forward. The second level of the etheric touch is ancestral medicine. And the ancestral medicine component is very important as well because one, our ancestors walk with us. They're a part of us. They're part of our DNA. They're part of our genetic makeup. And anything we do, we want to have that team behind us, or with us, or beside us, or even ahead of us, guiding us, directing us. And when we're talking about the etheric touch, in order to be able to not only tap into your intuition, but also be able to pick up on what other people's spirits may need, your ancestors are very much a part of that, and they will actually guide you in the direction that you need to go for your clients. And so, and just on another note, when I decided to create this course, initially I did not have the ancestral medicine component in, and my ancestors demanded that I taught a complete course on ancestral medicine because of how important they are and the ritualized work that you are creating. And yes, this is a ritualized work. It's ritual. It's creating ritual for every single client. It's creating ritual for yourself. It's creating rituals for your client, and creating a space where, unlike the medical system, and the reason I keep doing that is because I have to interact right now with both, or I've had to interact with both. When you go to the doctor's office and when you're dealing with the hospitals, when they're coming to heal you, which is really a treatment, and that's why they call it treatment, it's because they're practicing, right? So you go in there and it's very cold, it's very sterile, there's nothing that makes you feel good about being there. It's actually a real scary experience. And then in actuality, you're taking your health and you're relying on somebody else's knowledge to tell you about yourself. And in actuality, we should know ourselves a lot more deeply than we do, and not have to rely on that system so heavily. So with the etheric touch and with the ancestral medicine, what we're doing is teaching you, one, how to speak to your ancestors, how to commune with your ancestors, how to build a relationship with your ancestors, the difference between your own personal genetic ancestors and that of a communal nature. And then we are also teaching you how to ritualize your work. Because when you go and you sit in front of your ancestors and you're talking with your ancestors, this is ritual. You're calling on the unseen. You're calling on spirit to come forth to guide you through this experience. And so now we've created ritual just by that one component alone of calling in our ancestors to be a part of the enrichment of the experience. The third level is shared healing, and that level is really exciting because the third level of the etheric touch has less to do with the lecture and has more to do with the hands-on work, right? So in the third level, you get to work on other people. So you'll get 3 clients to work on. They will give you reviews, and you get to set up your ritualized practice. The etheric touch, the beauty of it is that each level builds you up to another level. Peace, Trisha. My pleasure. Each level builds you up to the next level. So in level 1, you're learning about self-care. All of the techniques and modules that you learn in self-care can be utilized in ancestral medicine. Ancestral medicine, once you get there and you start building this relationship with your ancestors, everything that you learn with your communication with your ancestors, as well as the course curriculum, can now be taken over to level 3, which is shared healing. In the shared healing aspect of things, you are taking you're collaborating everything that you've learned and putting it into one ritualized session. And it can go from 30 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever is needed, whatever is being called for through yourself. And because your intuition has been built up so strongly, by the time you get to level 3, there's no doubts. You've eliminated doubts. You know what needs to be done because you are empowered in what you know. Your etheric touch is not supposed to look like mine. Your etheric touch is not supposed to look like mine. Your etheric touch is your own. And that's what I like about it. There's no boundaries on it. There's no protocols on it. You get to create a system of healing that feels right for you. So and the shared healing component, peace, Rafaela, and the shared healing component of the etheric touch. You are now incorporating everything that you learned in level 1, everything you've learned in level 2. And then in level 3, you get to implement your own style and technique. So now you've customized this practice to yourself and given it to others. And now others get the opportunity to experience something that they have not experienced before. And you get to introduce magic into their lives. You get to introduce mysticism into their lives. You get to introduce love into their lives, joy into their life, peace into their life, stress management, relaxation. You get to implement empowerment into their lives. You get to show them something that they've never seen or felt before. And that's what the etheric touch does. And so those are the 3 main components of the etheric touch. But it gets better though. Peace, Marquita. But it gets better though, right? Peace, Tanisha. It gets better than that, right? So now you've gone through the 3 levels, right? And you're like, oh, I got it. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. I can do this. My clients is getting all kinds of experiences and stuff, whatever. Yes, okay. Thank you for tuning in. But so after that, now let me rewind a little bit. Like I said, I have been on this journey for 12 years. I have been specifically in tune with holistic health and holistic wellness for 10 years. I have been helping my husband as well as many other clients to regain their health and to regain their strength and to feel empowered. And then, and that's what I give within those 3 levels. But check it out. Like I said earlier, I went to school for alternative medicine. So all of the modalities and techniques, the indigenous modalities and techniques that I've learned over the last 10 years, I offer it as continuing education after you finish the first 3 levels. So you're continuously building your craft. You're continuously building, gaining more tools. And in addition to that, I have beautiful teachers in line that if I don't actually teach that practice, that they do. So for instance, I have one sister, Reach Tara of 9 Minds Radio. She teaches pendulum work. She'll be part of the continuing education class. Tasha Ariel, who is she's part of the Honey Cove, and hers is Earth, Wind, and Vines, I believe. She's the sensual lioness, so she'll be teaching sensuality and how to use sensuality in the etheric touch, and the list goes on and on. We have Tai Chi, we have Qigong, more meditation. We have and coming soon for 2020, we will be introducing the etheric touch, the erotic edition. So, what I wanted to do, and why I say that the etheric touch is different for Reiki, is because in Reiki, honestly, there's 3 levels. They give you what you need and you're off to do whatever you want to do from that point, with no more guidance and no more education. And I feel that because when we're talking about energy is so expansive that there should always be continuing education. There should always be more that you can include into your sessions to make these experiences for people even more grander. Even grander. Peace, Vanessa, even grander than what they are. And so the continuing education courses, the etheric touch erotica, I have the etheric touch, the moon cycle group. There's so many different aspects that are coming to the etheric touch to make sure that you have the tools that you need in order to have to build your intuition. So even with intuition, right? Intuition is, yes, something that we feel, something that it's not something that we think about. It's just it's an instant kind of knowing, right? But in learning certain modalities, especially indigenous modalities, especially holistic modalities, what happens is once you learn these tools, then your spirit guides you as to what tool you need for what reason. So if I'm doing my own personal work, I might do meditation today. I might do Qigong tomorrow. I might do etheric touch the next day. I might do healing hands on a different day. It's always something, but it's always changing. And the more that I give and the more that I teach, the more tools you have in order to be able to customize your own practice. And that's what I would like to see. My students are not bound by any protocol, rule at all. there are certain things that you need to understand. There are certain things you need to learn. There are certain philosophies that need to be taught in order for you to understand what is actually happening. Once you understand what is happening, and once you understand the rules of engagement, then you can bend the rules the way you like. And so that's my goal. My goal is to teach people how to tap into their selves in such a way that they can, one, incorporate healing into their own life, two, have a deep spiritual relationship with their ancestors, three, incorporate healing into other people's lives. Peace, Avery. Incorporate healing into other people's lives. That is my goal. That is my goal with the etheric touch. I have because I have been practicing so long. It took me, it literally took me 10 years to come to the point of being willing to teach this practice. I've been asked many times over the course of the last 10 years, and I have been like, no, thank you. But in the experiences that I've seen and heard about from my clients, I felt truthfully that it would be selfish for me not to teach this from my perspective. You could, and I would honestly say, if you're looking for Reiki, then you should go find Reiki. Kemetic Reiki is great, Usui Reiki is great, Tibetan Reiki is great. There's so many different energy systems that you can learn. And if that's what you want, I say go for it. That's not what I teach. What I teach is a freedom-based energy system. It's a freedom-based healing system that I just incorporated all the modules that I've learned over the last 10 years and put it into one space that you can heal. And eventually, if this is something that resonates with you and you see how it's having an effect in your life and your clients' lives, and you want to teach it, then eventually I'll teach it to you, and you can do this on your own, and you can teach even more people. It's paying it forward. The etheric touch was a gift to me. It was a gift from the universe. It was a gift from my teacher. And okay, hold on. How do you teach others how to manage through the naysayers who label the practice negatively, or does the movement through the energy practices elevate you to allow you to live non-traditionally? Okay, so quick story. Initially, when I came out with the etheric touch, something very similar like that happened, where somebody basically said that it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. and it really hurt my feelings. It really hurt my feelings at first. But it came because that person was so used to seeing it in a specific type of way, and that anything outside of that was foreign to her. And because it was foreign, then she tried to discredit the practice. So for me, what I say is, you don't have to believe it. It's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. And my practice is not for everybody. My practice is for those who want freedom in the way that they heal. My practice is for those who want to be able to customize their practice for themselves, that it connects with them, like holistically, like within themselves, that it connects with their spirit. Like, the problem was that people were going to Reiki practitioners and not taking anything away from it. They did not feel comfortable or confident in their practices. And what does that say about that tradition? If you can go to a teacher and you can spend all this money and you are not confident in your practice. And so if you're not confident within your own self-healing practice, then how can you be confident in practicing on somebody else? And so for me, it's because it's non-traditional. It's because it's non-traditional that you might want to learn this system. It was because it was non-traditional for me that I wanted to learn. It was because, well, honestly, I didn't even know it was non-traditional. I didn't even know. I didn't know that the way we have been practicing, how we can go outside and we can take the energy from the trees, or we can take the energy from the sun and utilize it in our healing practices. I didn't know that that was non-traditional. I didn't know that it was non-traditional to come and get some water and use the water to heal. I didn't know that that was non-traditional. I didn't know that it was non-traditional to just move the way you felt versus having these symbols necessary, or having your hand placement in a certain way, or doing it this way and that. I did not know that. It was that idea was foreign to me. So for me, it's because it's non-traditional. I am very freedom based in my living, in my way of life, in my lifestyle, in my everything. Like, my whole life is completely freedom based. And anything that tells me I need to be placed in a box, I rebel against. And that's the way I've been since I was a child. Like, that was one of my parents' main issues with me, was that I'm so rebellious, because you're putting me in a box and I don't belong in a box. I belong outside. I belong in the world. I'm supposed to be an explorer of this world and a discoverer of this world. I'm worldly. I'm universal. I'm not a North Carolinian. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with North Carolina. That's where I've lived for a long time. I'm not a New Yorkan. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an American. I'm universal. I'm celestial. I'm cosmic. You know what I'm saying? And so it's because of that I offer this in the way that I do. And it's not for everybody. And it's okay if it's not for you. I'm not for everybody. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I know and what I have heard from my students is that it's because of the freedom-based practice that has called them into it. So that's just how I feel about that. And if you think about it, right? Yes, Marquita, she said non-traditional in most things suits me best, feels more natural. Right. So just think about this, right? So the majority of us, especially if you follow my page, the majority of us who are into holistic living, or if you're spiritually inept, Christianity didn't work for you, because that puts you in a box. It puts your spirituality in a box. Religion didn't work for you. You might have went from Christianity to Muslim to whatever. None of it worked for you because it puts you in a box. And that's the issue, is that we're in the age of Aquarius, okay? In the age of Pisces, it was about belief. So it was okay to be in that box during the age of belief, because all you had to do was have faith. But now we're in the age of knowing. The age of Aquarius is the age of knowing. And knowing means that within myself, I know. It's not about what you tell me. It's about what I know for myself. And so, of course, it feels more natural. It always feels more natural to do things as it resonates for you. Not because it's told that you have to do anything in a certain kind of way, shape, form, order, or chronologically. You know, it's not about, the structure is already there. The structure is already there. The idea for the etheric touch is the structure and freedom. You know what I'm saying? To understand what the structure is and freedom. Yes, Tanya. Awesome. Yes. It's the idea, like, if you look at nature is all about freedom, right? When we look at nature, we can see how things, if never messed with, can grow into beautiful expressions of itself. If all humans died right now, excuse me, the nature would still carry on. And we know this because if you walk down the street, you can always see some grass in between the cement. Sometimes a flower will push its way through. You know, so there's always, like, nature is free. It cannot be confined, right? But it is, though. It is confined. There's structure and freedom, right? So when you look at a tree, that tree is structured that way. Yes, the tree is free to bloom as wide as it like to. It would like to, because it's structured to grow high and then spread forth, you know, with the roots deep into the core of the earth. And that's what nature is about. It's about finding structure and freedom, and that's what the etheric touch tries to teach. It's teaching. It's about finding structure and freedom. So yes, the idea is to be completely free in your movements. The idea is to be completely free in your rituals and your customization. But the guidelines, the levels of the etheric touch teaches you. It teaches you how to gain that structure and the freedom of your practice. And so, yeah, it's the etheric touch. I don't want to touch you physically. I want to touch your spirit. That's where I want to touch you. I want you to feel me without me having to touch you. Like, isn't that beautiful? You know what I'm saying? Isn't that something to really, like, aim for? Is to not have, like, how many can you think of a time that you've gone somewhere and a person walks into the room and they haven't had to say anything, they just are there and their presence is felt? That's the etheric touch. That's the etheric touch, when you can just show up and your presence speaks volumes. When I talk about when I call myself the enchantress, I think about the enchantress being a reformed wild woman. I was very wild in my younger years. Sometimes you'll see it, you know what I'm saying? I still like to twerk and everything like that, you know? But the enchantress is refined. She understands that she no longer has to fight for her freedom. It's hers. It's her power. It's her empowerment. When she shows up into the room, you feel her. And she does not have to say or do anything. And no, you can't take her freedom from her. And you don't have to like it. It's not meant for you if you don't like it. You can go the other way because she's here. You know? And so, it's so powerful to touch someone without touching them. Right. That part. That was the part, finding structure and freedom. Yes. That was the part that initially, back 10 years ago, was the reason I wanted to learn. It was because nobody touched me literally. It wasn't nothing like, you know, ooh, touchy feely, let me get a quick, you know, cop a feel real quick, or nothing like that. It was literally that I could feel things happening to me without anybody physically touching me. And then I went outside and it was a magical wonderland outside. And it was like, how do I do that? How do I access that same thing for myself? And how do I help others to access it as well? And so many times my clients, when they come and they sit on my table, and like I said, everyone has their own experiences, but what I can say is that when you get the opportunity to come into my lab, it changes you. It changes you. There was a sister in Atlanta. She was an EI, and she had very tumultuous periods, menstrual cycles, to the point where it was like labor pains for her. She'd be crippled over, crying, and it would last for weeks on, weeks, not 1 week, but maybe 2 weeks. It was really, really terrible for her. And she take all kinds of medicines, and she's tried everything everyone's ever said, da, 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 da. And she asked me to do a session for her. So I went down there and I did the session for her. It was probably like a 30-minute, maybe 45-minute session. And as soon as she got off my table, she popped up. She's like, "Oh, I feel great." And she started zip, 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 zip all over her house. And there was other sisters there who knew her, who knows what this time is. And they come to her to assist her during this time. And when they saw her, it was like, what is it that you just did? Like, we never see this. That's the etheric touch. You know what I'm saying? Another sister came to me, and she was it wasn't that she didn't feel good about herself at all. She did feel very, very good about herself. But when she met me, she was just starting her journey. And so when she came and sat in the chair and I did the etheric touch for her, when she came out of it, she was crying. And when she got the opportunity to tell me what had happened, she said that her vision was that she saw herself, and when she first saw herself, she looked really, really burnt. But then after the session was finished, she saw herself again, and she was a complete, beautiful goddess. And from that moment on, she was able to feel empowered in the way she moves and the way she interacts in her life. Another sister told me that she felt like a giant. She told me she felt like a giant. Other people have said their ancestors have come up. Other people have said they've astral projected back into past life experiences. The etheric touch is so expansive. It's so expansive. There's no way for me to honestly say what to expect from it. And I never do. I never want to. So I just wanted to come on tonight to give some information, to dispel any misconceptions, just to let you know what it is, and let you know how I've experienced it, let you know how it's changed my life and how it could potentially change yours. Right now we do have our level 1 the etheric touch self-care class starting. We do have level 1 self-care starting on August the 24th. That course is $150. There are currently I'm sorry, there's currently 8 spaces remaining, I believe. There's 8 spaces remaining in that course. I only take 10 people at a time per level, because I truthfully and honestly want to know all of my students, and I want to know about your experiences with them, and I want to see how it's changing your life. And then, so that course starts on August the 24th. We have our second level ancestral medicine component starting on August 31st. And then our third level, the shared healing course, begins on September the 7th. Now, when you get to the shared healing component, right? So you go through the shared healing. I give you the lecture. You get your 3 people initially to practice on. Then at the end of that, I create a retreat space for you. And in that retreat space, you get to the requirement is that you get to practice on me. So I will be one of your clients, and we celebrate. We give you a graduation, and you get gifts from each other. You get to the class you're with gets to gift me as well, and we get to celebrate the fact that you've come so far. Generally speaking, I wait 2 months before I let any class move on to the next level, because I want you to have enough time to practice. Also, too, if you've taken Reiki in the past and you feel like the course for the self-care, like you feel like you already are doing self-care, then I do offer a test out component, so you could test out to move on to the second level. But yeah, I just wanted to make it accessible to people. I wanted to make it so that it felt real for people, and that you felt like it was something that you could do in person. What in person? The session, Renee? Thank you, Tanisha. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Renee. In person. So, what? The certificate, the third level certification, I think is what you're saying. I think. I'll just break it down. How do you manage to work remotely? Okay. So, yes. So, initially, the Etheric Touch level 1, 2, and 3 are all given through Facebook. Facebook's a Facebook group that is secret. Yes, okay. I have a secret Facebook group for level 1, 2, and 3. So all of the lecture components are given in those Facebook groups that are private. We also, okay, Renee, I got it. We also have a study group and in an app called Marco Polo, where you get to share with me and your fellow classmates your experiences, what you've seen, what you've done, any questions that you have. All those things are part of the Marco Polo group. So within the secret Facebook group and the Marco Polo group, you have the Marco Polo group allows you to have more intimate access to me, as well as being able to share your experiences with your classmates. The Facebook group is full of more information, so you get the lectures, and once you're in one of the Facebook groups, you always get to be in those groups. I do not ever remove you from them. So no matter what comes in the future, you always have access to that information, and you always have the ability to come back for refreshers, to ask more questions, to get more information, and that's in all 3 of the groups. Then there's an initiation component. The initiation component is to open you up to universal life force energy even more. And so the initiation component is something that I do remotely, distance. Through the Marco Polo group, is something that is private, that you schedule with me, as far as you get a one-on-one with me, and you get the scheduled initiation with me. And you get 3 of them. Excuse me, I said 4, but it was 3. And you get 3 of them. Technically, if you decide to go to level 4 and teach, then you would get another initiation to be able to teach. But take away level 4, the first 3 components, 1, 2, and 3, you get initiations. They're done through Marco Polo, distance sessions. I set you up, I get you prepared, and then I do the session for you, and you have your experience exactly where you are. In the third level, yeah, Tasha, Tasha, I'll do anything you need, Tasha, just ask me, because Tasha be keeping me on my P's and Q's as far as this universal energy that's coming through, what's happening with the astrology, the planets, and she's just very damn wise. If you don't know who Tasha is, please follow her on Facebook. Like, this woman is wise beyond her years, and she's a trip, and I love her because she's freedom based, and I'm freedom based, and anybody who's freedom based I can rock with, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, the third level though, that is the love. There's two ways to complete the third level. The first way is to get to the retreat. The retreat space is it's very important to me that by the time you get to the third level and you get your certification for all three levels of the etheric touch, that I can stand behind your practice. And the only way I can do that is to be a part of your practice. So there's two ways that you could potentially do that. One is to come to the retreat. The retreat is a celebration. You get to get away. I don't know if I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna do it twice a year. We'll see though. I don't see doing it seasonally, but if it needs to be done seasonally, then I will. I got to think about that more. But the retreat space allows you to get away and come and connect with your fellow classmates as well as me. And it also gives me the opportunity to see and be a part of your ritual. So that's the first way that you could complete level 3. The second way to complete level 3 is to have me come to you. Or you come to me. I live in North Carolina. So it's really peace, Shalisa, peace, boo. So it's completely up to you how you want to move forward in level 3. Once you get to that component, and I'm willing to work with you. Like, I'm very approachable. I really love people. I'm a big socialite. You know, you can come and you can ask me whatever you need to ask. So Renee, with you being in Houston, actually my father lives out in Houston. So if it was something that you needed to where, you know, I needed to fly out to you, then we can definitely discuss the arrangements for that to be able to happen. I just want everybody to get what they need and be able to stand behind my students. After you get through level 3, and if you decide to continue with the continuing education, everything else is remote. Everything else is remote. Nothing else do I require you to be showing up for. Even with the practitioners that you'll get in the continuing education, their continuing education is also done online. So you never, ever miss out on the information. The information that you want to use to gain to evolve your practice. You never miss out on that. The only one time that I ask that we are in person is when you have to work on me. There was something else I wanted to tell y'all. Oh, well, come to NC then. Where? Raleigh, Charlotte, Fayetteville. I'm all of those places. It don't even matter. Anywhere in North Carolina I can get to. Greensboro. There was something else I wanted to tell y'all. Shoot. Dang, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't remember what it was, but it's okay, because I'll definitely come back and do a live again some other time. And I know as soon as I stop talking, that's when it's going to come to me. Sucker. Either way, but yeah, so, and in level 1, so one of the things that happened in level 1, the students was talking about that it was hard for them to get into the rhythm of the practice. And so what I've been working on doing, we've done it a couple times, probably once or twice, is meditation nights, so that you can tune into me and my husband Conjure and go through the techniques that you've learned to level 1 together until it is something that becomes a part of your practice. And then you can take literally different modules, the different modules that you use. Like, it's not expected that you do all of them. It's just expected that you do them. And whatever one resonates with you at the time, that's the one you do. Again, I'm not for telling you what to do. I'm just not for that. I don't like telling grown people what to do. I really like for grown people to do whatever the hell they want to do. So, you know, we teach you the techniques. We have meditation Monday nights, where we go through the techniques with you. Sometimes we add more things. You get more information in those meditation nights. And that's the way we have been moving. Marco Polo is a tremendous gift for me, because it allows me to be intimately connected with you. And that's why I only generally have 10 people in my classes, is so that I can continue to be intimate with my students, and that you are able to access me as much as you need to access me, and that I can answer your questions as many questions or as much as you need. Whatever you need from me, you have access through the Marco Polo group. So those components as well. And then the continuing education, unless one of the other practitioners or myself need you to be present, that's not, everything is remote. I specifically set it up this way so that everybody who wants to have access to the etheric touch can have access to it. So again, if you have any questions, drop them now. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Again, I'm Ashun Tola, the Enchantress. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to, get started with the self-care level 1 etheric touch, hit my inbox, and I'll get right back with you. We do offer payment plans. $50 holds your spot, and then before the class actually begins is when the rest of the payment is due. But I work with people. And then after you get through level 1, if you're moving into level 2 or level 3, I also set it up to give you discounts for referrals. So if somebody wants to get into the etheric touch and you refer them, then you get $50 off the next course, and potentially if you get enough people, like the second level 2 is $250. So if you got 5 people to come and take self-care level, then potentially you wouldn't pay anything for that next level. And that's the way I work. So yeah, if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I know that was kind of long-winded. Whatever, I get really excited about it. It's my passion. It's what I love to do, and I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime. So I can go on and on and on, but I'm gonna cut myself short. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and yeah, have a good Wednesday night. Peace.